Closer to home, thankfully we have some very calm weather to enjoy here, and in the last few hours we've gotten much more sunshine to enjoy as the clouds overhead over much of the day, they just stayed stubborn throughout the morning and into the early afternoon. Now we're seeing a lot of the clouds just kind of fizzling out right overhead, and that's going to lead to a very nice sunset as we head into tonight. At least, thankfully, a clear sunset that we'll be able to see as the cloud cover moves on out. High pressure continues to dominate across the area, keeping us dry, keeping the winds calm, especially tonight. And then along with the clearing skies, we've got that recipe in place for yet another round of fog here coming in into the morning. But the fog isn't going to last all that long, though. Really, after tomorrow, shouldn't see too much fog. As this cold front comes through, it's moving into Minnesota tonight. And as it does so, it's going to keep on bringing in some cooler and drier air from Canada. And once that front gets here, any kind of humidity that we're feeling now will be just kind of swept away as we head really throughout much of the extended forecast. So a lot to enjoy here. But in the meantime, we do have one more night with areas of fog to contend with. Could be a bit dense in some areas, so just keep a lookout on that as we head into tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we'll wake up to temperatures around 60, maybe in some spots a little bit on the cooler side into the 50s. And then tomorrow, once that fog burns off into the middle of the morning, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds, somewhat similar to what we had today, which means those temperatures warming up to the upper 70s, potentially just briefly on the warmer side of the 80-degree mark. So talking about the fog first, as we head towards midnight, visibility is still okay, but notice how quickly the fog develops here. And by 6 o'clock, we're seeing very low visibilities, even less than a mile in some spots. So just make sure to keep that in mind. Use those low beam headlights if you get into any dense fog. But the good news is, as we head out the door for the morning commute, we'll see that fog burning off pretty quickly. And by 10 o'clock, we're looking at clear conditions across the area. But then as we see here on Futurecast, we'll see some more clouds drifting in as we head towards the afternoon. But that cold front starts to sneak in as we head late Friday night, early Saturday morning. And as it does so, that may kick up a few showers, nothing too much more than that. But really the big deal is it's going to be the much cooler and drier air that will follow. The effects may not be immediate. However, when we have a trough that's going to be diving in, so this is a look at the upper air. We have ridging across much of the country. That's really what brought the high heat and humidity from the last few days. But as that trough digs in, especially this time of year when we see troughs like this, we see some big differences in that temperature. And as the jet stream, the polar jet stream, dives southward of us, we're going to be getting into some much cooler air and a big taste of fall on the way that looks to hang on here for much of next week. We'll see things moderating as we head towards the mid and latter part of next week, so getting closer to average, but still the entire forecast will be staying below our average highs in the low 80s. Tomorrow we get pretty close, but then look at the rest of that forecast with those highs in the 70s. Even Monday may not break out of the 60s, and those overnight lows, going to be some brisk mornings out there early next week. So definitely make sure to take advantage of the taste of fall while it's here.